Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. It's your business to remember September 11th, 2011. Here we are 12 years later, and it's amazing. It's amazing how much the world has changed during that time. And it seems like before September 11th, we had a much clearer idea of who our friends were and who our enemies were, and the political landscape, the geopolitical landscape was just much different. I, of course, love Ronald Reagan. I'm a huge fan of Reagan, one of the most important political characters in my own mental development about what good government looks like. But, and I thought how he handled the communist situation was brilliant. Without firing a single bullet, we brought an end to communism as a major political force worldwide. Yet, with that, we lost some of the containment pressures that happened in a world that was controlled by Russia or by the U.S. And a lot of those countries that were controlled by one or the other are now controlled by very, very internal forces, very divisive forces, often even tribal forces when you look at some of the situations in the Middle East. And so it's a very different time. And I drive my son to school every day. I was recently driving him to school, and we were talking about, the world since September 11th. And he is 15 years old, which means he was 3 at the time September 11th happens. Really doesn't understand how much the world's changed because he doesn't remember the world before then. But things are different. Our children are far less secure than what we even were. A lot more anxiety taking place just because the headlines seem so much more ominous. And it has hit so close to home. The idea of America's soil being attacked was so foreign to me until September 11, 2001. And I was almost 40 when that took place. Now, I'm always kind of like turning on the news in the morning to wonder where terror may have struck, even in our country. And so it's a more vulnerable time. And I think of younger generations, how they look at it. And so there's a lot of different angles you're going to be hearing about September 11th, a lot of different stories. We're 1 year out from Benghazi, where American lives were killed on September 11th because of the failed foreign policy of the Obama administration. I think it was a direct result of a failed foreign policy. And there's a lot of different angles that you can look at the situation when it comes to September 11th. But I think it's a very important time for us as adults, for those of us who are adults, to spend time talking to younger generations, particularly those people who never remember a time or a geopolitical situation outside of September 11th, to really help them put trust into one who's in charge of all things, that God who's in charge of all things, and to encourage them to do just that, and really give them the opportunity to speak about those things, because there is some comfort in just being able to talk about those things, because we do live in different times. But I hope every single one of you take a moment just to pause and to pray for the families that were affected by September 11th. Pause and pray and think about our troops who are continually involved in front lines when it comes to issues that relate directly back to September 11th. And remember that no matter how the political winds change, and even some of my political attitudes have changed about U.S. intervention in other parts of the world, we should always respect and appreciate the service of those who serve our country in a very dangerous way, which is in our armed forces. So I hope you have a great day, today. I hope it's a thoughtful one, though, as well, kind of a sobering one, remembering the sacrifice of others and how the world has changed so much over the past decade plus. All right, when we come back, we'll have much more for you. Do want to remind you the show continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com, and also don't forget our sister news website, usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter.